Alright, so we move on to episode 2, entitled Metamorphosis. This guest stars Chad Dinella, you may know from Final Destination. And yeah, he plays Greg, who is the Freak of the Week in this episode. And as I mentioned in the previous episode, this one, picks up right after the last one. Same song and everything. And we see that Clark was not the only one watching Lana from afar, as we see that Greg is also watching her from a tree. And we basically see an origin story here. Greg is this nerd. We find out later he used to hang out with Clark and Pete when they were younger. And he's obsessed with bugs, and his mom has had enough. She finds out that he's been spying on Lana, and she's in a bridge club with Lana's aunt. And so she says she's going to send him to military school, and he freaks out, takes all his bugs, and is running away or going to do something with them, going to hide them. When he crashes, and he uses meteor rocks to help the bugs, so when the accident happens, the meteor rocks affect him, and he gets bit, I guess, by all these bugs and the meteor rocks and everything. So it gives him super bug powers. And once he gets his super bug powers, he takes care of his mom, and then goes after Lana. There's also some drama in this episode where the first exchange of Lex and Lana in this series, where he shows up at the stables to talk to her, and she explains that they met years earlier. When she was 10 years old, she was in a riding competition, and Lex's father invited him to stay at the mansion in Metropolis or whatever. And she walked in on Lex skinny dipping with someone else, and skinny dipping with a girl. And at first I'm like, well, they're the same age, aren't they? It's kind of weird that a 10-year-old skinny dipping. Well, I looked it up, and Michael Rosenbaum is actually 11 years older than she is, so that makes sense, sort of. She's supposed to be 15 here, right? So if she was 10, he'd be 21 at that point. Are they trying to say that Lex is in his 30s here? Because no, he'd be 21 here. But the actor would have been, I don't know. We're coming up a couple years now, or at least a year, because it's almost 2020, but in 2021, this show's going to be 20 years old. So do with that what you will. So, the character of Greg, as we said, he has bug powers. So, Lex talks to Lana, and basically tells her what happened with Whitney and Clark and everything that happened on homecoming night. And she confronts Whitney about it and demands her necklace back. And that's when he admits to her that he lost it. It was now after what happened in the pilot episode, Lex found it and gave it to Clark in a lead box. And this is the first time that this is where we establish that lead can block kryptonite, as we all know, and it comes in handy later. So upon Greg's new attitude, Clark, Pete, and Chloe decide to investigate at Greg's house and find Greg's mom dead and trapped in a cocoon, and they find, due to the footage that's playing on the TV, for some reason, they realize that Lana's the next target. However, it cuts to Whitney talking to Lana. Greg showing up, flinging Whitney across the stables and kidnapping Lana. Clark shows up to talk to Lana, to save Lana, but finds Whitney. I should mention that earlier in the episode, Greg tried to kill Whitney, and Clark saved the day. Now, I want to talk about this, because there's a little iffy on this. Okay, so Clark comes in, rips the door off, as he does. He saves Whitney. And the truck's going to explode, so he covers Whitney, but not all the way. And the truck explodes. Big fire everywhere. Now, this is the first big... we saw him put his arm in the wood chipper in the first episode. But this is the first big show of his invincibility. And especially to Martha, who is a little put off by it, but a little shook by it. I have a problem with this scene because, while Clark is invulnerable, one, his clothes are not, and his clothes are barely damaged. They should be like cinders. To be completely singed. And Whitney should have some kind of burn damage on him, if not being fried to a fucking crisp. My reasoning is that Clark is invincible, not his clothes or Whitney. So when that flame engulfs them, Clark should be the only one left standing. Really. He should be there pretty much naked with a burnt to the crisp Whitney. But because Whitney gotta be a main character, he just saved his life. So the climax of the episode takes place at this clubhouse, I guess. I don't know. Clark knows where he's going. It's a clubhouse, and Clark has a confrontation with there's like an old foundry or something. He has a confrontation with Greg, and Greg sort of knows his weakness because he says that the meteor rocks still make him weak like when they were kids. Now, if Clark knew that the meteor rocks made him feel weird when he was a kid, then how is he so surprised by it in the first episode? I don't know. I can't explain it. I just cannot explain. Eventually, though, all this, running around trying to get away from him so he can get stronger leads him to a place that's lead-lined. And he basically beats the hell out of Greg. And this thing falls, smashes Greg, and we see a bunch of bugs scare everywhere. We don't see Greg after this, and for years, it was assumed Greg was dead, gone. But Greg actually shows up again in season 10 for a cameo that actually kind of works. So Greg's not dead. He's just smashing 2 million bugs, which makes me think, so where did he go? I don't remember if they explained it in season 10. We'll get to that, but I'm just like, where did he go then if he's still alive? I don't know. But, and they try to fool us, right? You see these hands come over and open up the cocoon Lana's in. They try to make you think it's Clark, but you can clearly see by the jacket arms that it's Whitney. It's definitely a Letterman jacket. Whitney saves the day, basically. Lana doesn't even know that Clark was around, I don't think. But yeah. Decent episode, not bad. I mean, the first few episodes of the show are going to be rocky anyway, but it's a decent episode. Not bad. Not many problems with it either. Like I said, the only thing with Whitney should be completely deed at this point, but, burnt to a crisp. So, what are your thoughts on episode 2, Metamorphosis? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you.